Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, so today I am going to try to mod a file that's not my file. It's not one that I've worked on or made myself. I'm going to mod it to print the way that I talked about in my last video. It's just kind of another follow-up to those previous videos. I had a lot of people ask me for different, can you show how to do this or that? I'm going to start with a thigh from one of the Jesse M C-3PO files, and I just downloaded the latest versions of his files. I just re-downloaded everything, and I think there has been some updates since the last time I looked at them. I did some quick import tests just to see if they come in, because I thought about maybe doing a torso. The two torso front and back pieces come in correctly, but the back panel comes in at a different angle, which is okay. But what I'm going to do is I might do those in another video and then set them up beforehand so we're not wasting time. But I'm just going to jump in here and grab the file for the thigh and then basically remove the insides, seal it up, extrude it out so that it can be printed just the way I did with mine. But this isn't my file, so we're going to figure it out together. It might take a little bit, but this is how we're going to do things. So all right, let's see here. If I get a little sluggish on the talking, I feel like I'm getting a cold. I went to the Grand Prix of Long Beach yesterday, thanks to Chris Picola, who got me a pass, which is amazing. I could have gone today, but it's really far, so I didn't go back down there. Took a bunch of video on the 360 camera. I should do a video on that camera. It's really cool. I've used it for like a year, and I love it. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting a cold, and in the last hour, it really kind of kicked in, and yeah, that was not fun. So anyway, let's see here. Scene. This is my full thing. You guys can see me. Looks like my audio is working. Let's go to ZBrush. All right. So I just opened this. What's funny is the last time I opened it, it gave me like a pop-up like, oh, new version. Be sure to update. And it hasn't told me that today. So I don't know if I told it to leave me alone. So we're going to go load tool. Jesse M. Legs. Oh, it's not a tool yet. I haven't saved a tool. I got to import. That's why. Import. There we go. Leg files. All right. So here we have all the shins, all the different pieces. We're just going to do a thigh. Let's do the right thigh. And it doesn't matter. Let's do color. Cool. New file. Load the tool. Set to edit mode. All right. So here we have the file. Got my little pen here. Hopefully we're recording. I don't know. We'll find out in the end. All right. So I don't know. I guess he did some mods to these, but I don't know exactly what they are yet. I haven't really taken a good look at these. His files are fantastic. I always recommend them to everybody. There's a few like nitpicky things that, as a person who's stared at C-3PO for a long time and lots of pictures, there are handfuls of things that I'm like, I could probably change this and that. But overall, really good. And they look beautiful when they're printed up and all, chromed. I've seen, multiple people have finished costumes with them and they look great. In this, where the actual shin connects to the thigh, is a really good idea. I like this. However, for the sake of this video, I'm going to remove it because I'm going to do it just like my last set of legs. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it. We can. I don't know. No, I'm gonna take it out. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to save this when I'm done. I don't think. I'm going to do them so they're more like the screen accurate legs. However, this is a really good design thing. I think it helps keep all the legs together and stuff. It's pretty great. So you'll notice my little selection is a marquee here is a rectangle. So let's see. I go to B, which pulls out my brushes, S for my selection tool or whatever it's called, and then L for lasso. It says skip this note until next time. And now when I do this, it'll make a little lasso tool to just get the little parts I want. We've got these, and this is what the wireframe looks like. Now, because this was saved out, I think from an STL, you'll see all these little triangles. ZBrush likes regular square polygons, four-sided polygons, much more than rectangles. So if you do smoothing and so forth, it works better when everything's are little squares instead of little triangles. I think I said rectangles a second ago, I meant triangles. So there's ways to change this. You can remesh it or whatever. It doesn't, we're not going to worry about that too much right now. So basically what I want to do is I want to seal up these holes and then extrude out the ends so that when I print, it kind of just has its own platform to print off of and uses the minimal amount of infill material and support material. So if you notice the color's all the same, I'm going to go like this and turn off the lines. So this is a polygroup color. I can turn that off. This is kind of like the standard ZBrush matte cap color. So I can make it gray or whatever color you're comfortable to work in. And then if I hit Shift F, it'll turn a different color. And that is the polygroup colors. You can change that, do different polygroups. And so if I select a piece and I want this to be selectable, I can hit Control W. And now that's a different polygroup. When I come back, it's a different color. Now these are still all connected exactly like they were before, but now I can select either half real easy. So I'm going to use that function to help me here. Now under polygroups, which is over here, you can go group by normals, and it tries. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it barely works at all. You hit group by normals. And what it does is it tries to find the angles. And there's threshold in here. It says, I'm pointing out with my finger, like you see it right here. It says angle, max angle. That can help it differentiate the actual groups, because you see how it only separated a few things here. And the inside and the outside are still connected. I was hoping that it would get this lip here, which it didn't for some reason. Maybe the angles are not enough. Let me try this. We'll try it again. You can go too low, because if it's set right and the geometry is correct, it will get like all the different sides of these little pieces like that. Like that's gonna be a little better, I think. So now it looks a little wild. We don't need it broken up this much. However, this can be helpful. So let's see what we have here. So we have a couple pieces are still connected. So we have an inside and an outside kind of connected. And we've got this stuff. So let's hide these. And by hiding these, I'm holding down Control Shift and just kind of tapping them. It kind of hides it by the polygroup. It might be Command. I think it's Command Shift on Macs if you're using a Macintosh, an Apple computer, which I am not using. I do not like Apple very much. So we've got this. Let's see what this looks like. These are the pieces we have. Now you'll notice there's some exterior parts of this leg you want to do. And my whole goal here is to kind of isolate the interior from the exterior. So try to figure out where the overlap is happening. Okay, I might even be able to turn this down a little more. Let's try this. This might be too much. It might freak out. No, let's not do that. Sometimes if you go too low, it really it loses its mind. There'll be like, you know, like 100,000 different little fragments it's trying to put together, and that can be slow. So let's do this. We're going to hide these pieces using our lasso tool. I'm going to actually turn on the wireframe so I can kind of see what the parts look like here. And go in here and try to hide as much of this as possible. Now, a little bit here. Little guys everywhere, little fragments. So when I'm making a file like this on my own, I actually try to develop polygroups in the process and group certain shapes. Even though like they're part of the same thing, I'll try to keep them separated by polygroups if I can. It kind of makes life easier in ZBrush when you do that, because I'll show you. I'll give you an example in a second. But I mentioned previously about remeshing this. There's a setting called Z-remesher that will go in and clean up your geometry and give you nice four-sided polygons everywhere, and it's great. And there's some settings in there that can work really well, but sometimes it softens detail in a way that maybe you don't want. So I'm not going to do that here. Okay, so those are all there. Let's see where I'm trying to figure out where the overlap is between the inside and outside. I can see this. Now, if I can separate those halves, I can do auto groups. Did I get it? No, I got to do this little bit right here, maybe. All right, so go to auto groups. Burp. All right, so now we got this interior thing as a different color, which is probably good. So let's grab this interior. I should have done those too. Grab this interior. Come on. There we go. And turn this back up a little. Hide these. Now, I can select them and kind of hide them. So make sure nothing's attached. Okay, turn around. And get these. Now again, doing this in Blender or another software, the principle is kind of the same. The tools are definitely going to be different depending on you know, which program you're working in. But the concept is kind of the same. Now, if I get any time to practice Blender, maybe I'll do this tutorial in Blender too, but I don't have a lot of time at the moment to figure that out, so it's not going to be anytime soon. But if I start working in Blender and start getting the hang of some of those aspects, I'll do another tutorial on that. All right, so what I've done is I've now separated these things into two polygroups. So now you can see we have an inside of a leg and an outside leg. There's a couple little elements here I'd like to probably add to the inside. So when I do this, I'm going to try to keep the inside geometry of these teeth. So these teeth, I want to print the way that they are. And probably a little bit of this back area here as well. I'm going to probably cheat that a little bit down so that we get a little bit cleaner geometry there. Maybe not. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll look here. I can see like the polygroups. See how there's the geometry goes across in a line? I think I'm going to try to just like this, and then where was that? Right here. Oops. I'm going to try to keep, oops, I just messed it up again. Keep this together, maybe. And this one's kind of choppy, but it's okay. I'll do this. And then this. Okay. And we'll grab this little guy here. I don't know if it matters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do like a quick and dirty. Do this auto groups. I'm going to separate these two little bits here that are not the one I want. Regroup those. Flip it. Dip it. Zip it. There we go. Now it's all grouped together again. So now we got our two groups. What I'm going to do is, there's a couple ways I could do this. I could delete the interior, which will show you what that looks like. Basically, I would go here, select the interior, hide it, and then you go to geometry, modified topology, delete hidden. Now that is gone, and then I could cap holes, close holes, and now it's closed. Now it's kind of farty looking, but this would work. You still have to extend the ends out to make it do what you want. I still might do that on this end. But but we're not going to do that. We're going to back up to this. And when this is selected by itself and the other, this, or that, sorry, the purple part is hidden, if I modify this, I won't really do much to the purple part at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of center this in the knees here. Now the knee angle on these 3PO is interesting. I feel like the real one has a little weird tilt to it, especially on the New Hope suits. The knee is at a funky angle. It's really strange. And it's like that on the other suits too, but not quite as drastic on the Empire and later suits. But it feels like this one is just super, super vertical. So I'm grabbing the entire interior geometry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten this down like this, like as flat can be. Whoops, don't want to do that. Keep it flat, flat. So it's there. Now it's flat. So when I turn everything back on, hopefully it will have closed out this bottom. But if I enable the lines, the actual, all the edges, you can see I just stretched it across here. And what's good about this is it keeps this curve here. So that this top little element, it goes across. I should have done it here. Actually, another accuracy thing is the real suits, this is not shaped like this. It kind of goes out and is flat and back. I might do a follow-up video like reviewing little accuracy notes. These files are fantastic. I'm not complaining. I'm just finding little things and noting them, but I still love these files for I think they're great. They're 20 times better than any of the droids that are on the Mandalorian. All those protocol droids are awful, and Jesse's files are like 50 times better by a long shot, accuracy wise, than all the ones that have made it on the Mandalorian. So yeah, so for whatever that's worth, these are awesome. I can do a whole review on that if anybody wants to hear me gripe about those droids. Ugh. So debating whether I should keep this. You know what? I'm going to back this out. I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to go back to this stage here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab this little bit of top stuff and I'm going to add that to our selection. Should I do it? Yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to just, oops, no. I'm going to, let's get this close. This little edge. See, like these little edges here would be nice if they're separate polygroups, but it's because it's got that little bit of roundness on the edge, makes it difficult. That's not a problem. I mean, it looks good. It's just editing wise that makes it easier for me because I'm a little baby. Little baby, want it to be easy. So we're gonna go boop. And same on this side, boop. And look at this. Yeah, dude, I feel like I'm getting sick. I have like that little post-nasal drip thing going on in my neck, in my throat. Feels funky. Hopefully I don't get too sick. Hopefully it's not like COVID or something. Ugh. Let me see something here. No. Alright. It's probably overkill. I don't really need to do this. You know what? I'm not gonna make you guys watch me. You get the idea. This is just for demo's sake. So technically I should probably go a little bit higher, but it really doesn't matter because we're gonna cut this thing apart anyway once it's molded. So I'm gonna go back to this, do the thing I did before. If you want to move your gizmo around, you see it's locked. If I just grab this and move it, I actually move the geometry. But if you want to move the gizmo, you just hold down Alt, and then you can line up the gizmo wherever you want. I'm going to roughly center it in the knee here. Seems close enough. And then I'm going to squish this down like I did previously. You guys saw me do that. Zoop. Get it real flat. And turn it inside out. All right. Not bad. Okay. Now it's hidden, so that's still there and flat. But I'm going to go back to the hidden state. And what I'm going to do is under my geometry, I'm going to say delete hidden, close holes. Now we've got this thing mostly closed up. So that geometry's gone. This is a little funky. Let's try that auto group thing here. The polygroups. No. Polygroups. Group by normals. Let's turn this average back up. I think default is 45. We'll put it 39. We'll see if we can get these pieces to group together. I feel like it's still going to have a little bit of issue around this edge. It might not work, but we're going to give it a shot. Remember, I'm just kind of figuring this out as we go. So these are steps that I would do to make this work. Yeah, it did not do what I wanted. Okay, we're going to leave that out. We're going to do a shortcut way. I'm going to select this. I'm going to, let's see. I can hide all of this stuff. Boom. The edge is going to be a little weird, so a little bit of manual work to do. And once you do this once and you have those polygroups made, every time you get a polygroup set up, it makes a lot of other features a lot more easy to accomplish. There's just a lot of stuff in ZBrush that you can control with the polygroups. So if I have this and I want to like smooth out the thing, but I want to not lose the detail on the piping detail and stuff, or lose a bunch of edges, if I separate it by polygroup, then pretty much be good. But if I don't, then if I separate it by polygroup, we'll be good. But if I don't, then sometimes it'll soften detail you don't want to soften and things like that. So polygroups are really good in ZBrush. Now, I don't know if I said this before, but to make a polygroup, I'm going to turn this inside out. So I want this weird ribbon thing that I just separated. I'm going to select this. And to make this one polygroup, it's Control W or Command W, and then now that group is its own color. We'll fix that funky look here. And we're going to do the same on the bottom here as well. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate this a few times, but because I'm doing this does not mean this is the way it has to be done. This is just me like figuring it out as I go, and there's 10 different ways to do this, so you know, you don't have to take my word for it, you know what I mean? Okay. Sometimes the process of breaking these things up into different pieces can be a little bit of trial and error, because you're trying to preserve certain aspects while simultaneously modifying some aspects, and it can be a little tricky. I know. I think I want to start doing more modeling of this stuff. I set up a Patreon page, which is not like set up. I'm not saying go follow me on Patreon or anything like that. I want to kind of figure out what people would like to see, and you know, what kind of models. I think what I would like to do is, you know, come up with like 5 or 6 things that I would like to make, and have people vote on them on the Patreon, and see which one is the most the favorite, and then I will create the files for it, and I would do the files for my Patreon subscribers. I think that would be a fair trade, and it would, you know, I'd have a little bit of fun, so it'd be an excuse to work. I wouldn't feel bad about working on stuff, which I do now. Like if I'm doing my own stuff, it's like it's hard because I gotta give up other time. But if I make that my work, it's a little bit easier. I mean, even if I make it like a part-time thing. But yeah, just thinking out loud. It seems like it'd be fun to do. It gives me an excuse to like work on a bunch of things, and that way, yeah, it's like I've got 100 projects I would love to make, tons and tons of stuff I'd love to make. I should have got these. And if I had an excuse to make them like that, it'd be awesome. Sorry, hang on a second, guys. I am trying to get all these little bits and bobs separated. Okay. Jeez. All right. There. No, kinda. All right. Got our end here. It's looking crazy as all get out. So the thing we could do now is remesh the ends, and that's going to make these square polygons kind of smooth it out. I'm really curious why I did this, but maybe I can smooth this down here. Let's see. It's a very strange decision the computer made when I did this a little bit. So I'm just smoothing it to see if it makes a difference. This isn't totally necessary. This kind of just softens it up a little bit. Huh. Yeah, weird. Weird. So I'm going to go back here, try a thing. All right, so I've got this. I'm going to go to the Z remesher and see what happens if I try to do this, if it'll freak out or not. Oh yeah, geometry, Z remesher. Fine. Just go with the standard settings, see what happens. Burp. And looks a little better. Let's take this out. See, it's got a little bit of like weird geometry on the bottom. I don't really want that. So let's go to. I hope I didn't drag it aside here. Did I? I don't know. Don't know. It's probably fine. It's probably fine for the sake of the demo. Ooh. Yeah, throat felt funky. Let's hope I don't have the cove. Let's see if we can do polygroups on this, and if there's two different groups, auto groups, there is. Look at that. So we can ditch that. Actually, we should do this. Hide this. Invert our selection. Delete hidden under geometry. No. Modify topology, delete hidden, and now we're going to close holes again. And it worked. So there's a hole somewhere. So for this top thing, we're kind of going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is sort of quickly soften down this weird edge. That'll just kind of make the shape a little more friendly. And I don't want to touch the edge here because see how it pulls? That'll drag that hidden geometry out. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to soften this down a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna sculpt it up a little. So I'm taking a clay brush and I'm gonna push that in. I can do a little bigger. And I'm gonna knock it back and I'm gonna smooth it and knock it back and smooth it just to kind of mod the shape. Again, maybe overkill for what we're trying to do. You know what? I'm gonna do something totally different. I don't need to do this. I'm gonna do Z remesher. Here's my thought process. We're going to see this in just a second. I'm going to remesh this. Just to make it a little cleaner. But here's what I'm doing. This is why none of this is going to matter. Because on my previous legs that I showed in the other video, I made the little standoff at the bottom here and then printed it up so that the top of the thigh was facing up. But I'm going to do this in reverse because I want to keep these teeth separate and I don't want to print a bunch of support here. Although it probably wouldn't matter, but I'd just rather not. I think if I print it upward, it's going to be better. I think. I'm on the fence. I could print support up to here and then this thing could print. I don't know. Now let's flip it. Let's flip it over. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna take this thing. Let's see, where's my tool? Actually, I'm gonna hide it. Let me see. Okay, there's my move tool, way down there. Move the move tool up to about here. Select, come on. Select my little green bit. Go back to move tool, and I'm gonna shrink this all the way up like this. Oops. And now we've got our little standoff on this end. So this one, I'm proposing, this could be the wrong way to go. Proposing it gets printed upside down like this. And then this little guy is the top. And when we print these, if it fits on the printer, this will be hollow. So let me fix this real quick here. I'm going to delete some of these extra pieces. You can see too when they're the topology is redone. It is easier to select stuff for sure. Look at that. Oy. Hang on, let me try something here. I'm going to smooth this. Again, apologize guys. I am doing this in real time. Sometimes I don't have the answer 100% worked out. Like I know kind of what I want to do, but it's not always the right answer. Basically, I'm going to iron this thing down first here. I don't know why it's doing that weird thing with the hole. Oh, look at that. Alright, select it again. Sorry, guys. I'm going to sort of smooth this down. Alright. So we'll do a remesh again. I'm going to do the Z remesher. Keep it the same. It's funny how it just wants to keep that here. This doesn't matter a lot. This is just for my OCD kind of part of my brain wants me to fix this. Say, Gordon, don't leave it like that. Now, I could literally just select, this middle section and squish it together. Invert it. What am I seeing here? See that weird little, what is that? It's a little bit of ghost geometry hanging out there, which I don't know exactly what that is. So, okay, I'm going to delete hidden. Delete hidden. I'm going to select this thing. Should be able to, I might be able to weld it. The things are actually not that close from the two sides. So, let's see. Close holes. Let's do it again. Close holes. Which is going to give me a different color. Why is that different color? See that? Oh, look at that. That might be part of it. Okay. So I got this ghost geometry that's hanging out here that I don't like. So I'm going to delete this. I don't know where that's coming from. Stuff that pops up you're not expecting to see. Some weird little issues like this, but they happen from time to time. So sometimes you just gotta deal with them. And there's one that's facing this way. Sync. This one. Alright. Alrighty. Hope I didn't hide too much other crap. Turn it over. Hide this. Alright, polygroups. Polygroups. Autogroups. Autogroups. Now, is this... There we go. And ditch this little piece here, like that. I wonder what, you see these little side things? Those don't need to be there. This is separate stuff. Shouldn't be part of this, but it is. All right, there we go. And maybe that'll work. We'll see. All right, flip it. We gotta figure this crap out here. Get this out, that out. Flip it. Polygroups, groups. Hide it. Hide it. All right, let's hope we're on track now. Okay, so that's gone. Delete hidden. Delete hidden. Close holes. Ah, I did it again. So it tries to gap this thing instead of just like welding these two things. It tries to bridge this gap but across this way, which is strange. I don't like it. So I guess technically I could weld it. Let's try to z-remesh with the thing. Oh, that was not what we wanted. I could physically go in and manually weld these, which is just not worth it for this demo. So let's think what's best. What's the best plan of action here? Let me try to weld it. Let's see what happens. Weld is it? Oh yeah, sorry, I'm wrong thing. Modified topology, weld. Now mesh partially hidden. Okay, let's try it. Weld points. Nah, it's too far apart. These things are not lined up enough to really weld them properly. You know what? Let's just close the holes and I'll do that thing I did before. Because again, I'm spending way too much time on a thing that's literally going to be cut out. This doesn't matter. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, here we go. Here comes code. All right. So got this one color. We're gonna soften that up again like we did before. Same deal. And there's a knife tool that we could use that would cut this and it would like eliminate the piece, but again, not real necessary. I'll probably crash it trying to do this. Let's see. This is ridiculous. Oops. Of course, I did it backwards. There it goes, dude. Getting a cold. Again, guys, total overkill, not necessary. What I'm doing here is I'm just getting in the weeds because I can't help myself. All right, and we'll soften this up a little bit. We'll just make it a little bit easier, maybe. All right, and then select. Oh, that's weird. Oh, get out of that tool. Flip it, dip it. Come on. This little thing I can get rid of. There we go. This looks like a little maxi pad. It's great. Z-remesher, remesh. And yay, that's more like what we wanted. Shouldn't have taken so long. Oh, look at this one. Look at this weird geometry over here. That's interesting. Weird how it did that. I don't know why. See this little stringy thing? Sometimes ZBrush will glitch out, and it doesn't do it often, but when it does, it's a pain in the butt. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna delete that crap, right? Delete, hidden. Oh yeah, spacing out, guys. Getting cold. Modify topology, delete hidden, close holes, right? And now go to move, which is W. I'm gonna click on this. Set this the real way I want it. Bring it up. Bring it like this. And now it's nice and flat. And this doesn't matter how long this is because I'm going to edit that in the slicing software. I don't even know if this thing is going to fit on my printer vertical like this. I might have to mod it so it's at an angle or something just to make it. Oh, wow, look at that. It really freaked out. Oy, that's okay. That's all right. I'll live with it. See, sometimes things mess up. Curious just how far back that happened. Now, let's see if I can prevent this. I think there's a hole there. There we go. Okay, so what I got to do to prevent that, I got to select this. Come on. There we go. And now there's that little piece. See this little piece right here? It's just a little dangler. I'm going to separate these. So I'm going to select this and make it its own polygroup color. So that little piece is eliminated. So now, when I go to move, see, you're learning stuff with me. I go to move. If I select this polygroup, you notice how it auto masks. So you see this whole thing up here turns dark. If I click, boop, and that turns dark, that means it's masked, and that only this is going to move. If it doesn't mask, the whole thing will move. Now again, I'm going to center this, which is this button. Hold Alt and click the little guy here, and then I'm going to drag this down, flatten the end. Cool. And the shortness doesn't need to be too ridiculous. Again, going to cut it in the slicers to wherever I need. The shape of this leg, I almost could pull it like kind of like this way a little bit, but I'll do it from here. It's fine. I'm actually going to make it just a little bit overly long so that in the slicer, if I need to angle it, I have a little bit of angle to work with. I can cut it like this and maybe buy a little bit of space. So it's a little bit too long. Doesn't matter. So now we're going to hide that, flip it, and we're going to what I'm going to do is change the polygroup color. Turn these off so you can see that I'm changing the colors. Different colors. Pick a color we like. I'm going to hide that stretchy stuff, and I'm going to turn the end a different color in case I need to reselect it. So now, see the end is a color, this is a color, this patch is a different color. So you have a lot of control over our polygroups. But I know there's a couple stragglers from when I was working before. So I'm going to hide this, come on, this. Now I'm going to combine everything else here. And there's some weirdo stuff here. Flip it. Let's make this thing. Let's remesh this. Z-remesher. The reason I do the remesh is because sometimes when you stretch the polygons so long like that, when they get weird shapes that when you bring it into the slicer, it has trouble. So it's, oh, look at that error. I got an error on it. That was weird. Huh. That means there's probably some kind of hole in there. Every once in a while it freaks out. But anyway, this actually could almost work. There might be a little bit of weirdo geometry here. So I'm going to just do this. I'm going to export this as is. Put it on the desktop. And boop. We'll just see if it opens. It might not even open right. Now, if I go do the next leg, like if this works how I want and I had to do the left leg, it would probably be a lot easier because I'll have it figured out. Let's see here. Alright, import the stuff. Let's go to desktop. What is this? C3PO style. No, what is this? Oh yeah, okay, cool. Oh look, it's outside the area, but just barely. Look at that. Look at that. It's just gonna fit. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip this over. I'm gonna select the top flat part. It's outside the area, which is okay. And we will slice it with this guy just below the edge here. Let's see if it's enough. Right there, just below. Delete lower, so I'm not going to keep lower. Perform cut, poink. And it's in the print area, just barely, but it prints. That'll fit on the Creality. Now, there's this extra stuff, but it's super thin, so, you know, you don't need to do it. But I could have done it the other way. I could flip this and literally, I could have pulled this down. You know what? Let's go crazy. Let's try it. See what happens. Just because we're right here. Let's see what happens. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Select stop it. Select this side. Okay, come on. There we go. And just make sure that's straight up and down. I'm just gonna pull that up like that. Look at that funky thing. Flatten it. Now this is gonna require some weird support, but it might be faster. So I'm gonna go just past the top of this here. This is enough room if I want to angle this, right? Cool. So we got that one. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this crap. Right. We're gonna go back here. Modify topology. Delete hidden. Close holes. Again, this is not the way. You could sculpt this into a better shape, but I'm just going to leave it like that because right now it doesn't matter. I'm going to export thigh. Other way. Other side. Oops, no exclamation points. Okay. I wanted to put an exclamation point there really bad. So we got this. Let's look at the other one. Now, this loads so freaking fast. I think it's just snot on my face. What is that? Is my nose running? Gross. Ugh. Not what I wanted to have is boogers on camera. That's right. Okay. Error. I'm going to do this with my tablet like it's ZBrush. So let us move this one. This is the one we want, and it's a little tiny bit tall. Just a little bit. For the Prusa, for the Creality. So let's see if we can cut it down to right there. It's just above the base. And perform cut. Boom. It makes it just barely. Look at that. So because this is weird. This is going to require a little bit of support material on the inside. What I should have done is opened my previous thigh. Let's do that. Let me open my previous thigh. No. Go to CZ3. Which one I have? Thigh right? That's the one pretty much I was looking at for. Okay, so this is the thigh, the right thigh. So we're going to import that off the desktop. We're going to do this one, which is this one. Wow, look at that. Let's delete this chopper block here. So here is, wow, that's a lot bigger. So the CZ3, now it doesn't have the, stop it. It doesn't have the teeth on the leg, but you can see this is a screen used CZ3. This is the exact, it's a scan off the real suit, so you can see this is how big this is. And the 3PO legs, the real 3PO legs, are based on this. Now I know this is the teeth. This is a New Hope leg. None of the New Hope protocol droids had the teeth on the legs. So you can kind of see here they're pretty close height-wise if you take away the... let me see it. Can I move this up a little bit? Yeah, it wants to pull it straight down to the bed. Now I'm curious though. Can I push this through? I can. For scale. Let's look at the scale. Pretty good. Pretty good. The knee stuff looks like the circle on the knee looks really good. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's Jesse's legs are a little bit bigger than I think what screen use would be. Just a little bit. Definitely a little wider. And a little taller. But that is okay. But anyway, that's for another day. We'll do that review some other time. I'm going to delete this, but the reason I brought it into this file is because I have the presets all done for the slicing and so forth. So do the same thing. I'll set this here. I'm going to print it. I don't want support material going all the way up. I got to chop this because they're just a little tall. Let's get close and look at that. See this little freaky piece of geometry? That's something I messed up somewhere. So hopefully it doesn't give me too many issues. Cool. All right. Don't keep lower. Wink. Yeah, this little thing here. Let's see if NetFab. Sometimes you can do a little fix through NetFab. See if it corrects anything. Doesn't crash here. So exciting. You know what? Let's not do this. This is too slow. It's too slow. Repairing was canceled. All right, let's just see what happens if I slice it. It's going to try to make build support material way up high, which I don't want. So I got to put a support blocker. Infilling layers, generated support material. It's going to be way too much support material. I forgot the other day when I was doing showing my print settings, I didn't realize that I'm down here in the corner, because when I look at my screen I can't see that. But so this, with all the support, is 1 day and 4 minutes. So 24 hours and 4 minutes. So let's get rid of the support material on all this high stuff and see how much it does. 24 hours, 4 minutes. That's what it comes out to as is. So go here. Add support blocker. Go to the box. We'll move this sucker around wherever we want it. The little gizmo is really tiny. That's good. Maybe. All right, supports hidden. I could run it up to here. Well, it doesn't really need it, but it won't hurt it. It's gonna add a little extra time. Let's try it again. Slice now. All right. So let's see how this comes out. I don't know if it's gonna come out as fast as mine. Now remember, this is now printing another 3+ inches of height to get these little knee details in. 15 hours. That's not bad. So 15 hours, less than a day, 15 hours, 39 minutes for this whole thigh, which is pretty good. That means you can start it in the morning, and right before you go to bed, you can start the next one and have like a shin in the morning. So, you know, in a weekend, by like, if you started it on Friday night, and then by Monday morning, you'd have a set of legs. That's not too bad. because the shins will probably print faster or smaller. But here's here's how they would look. Zoom. And what's kind of cool, so this thing here where these knee pieces are is totally hollow. So what I would do if I was making this for myself is I'd print this, and when it gets to inside the leg, when you go to work on this thing and you're putting this together, oh, it wants to fill it in. Look at that. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. That just made me realize I would have to do something different. Okay, so what I would do is I would fill these with resin. Again, I don't know if I said that before, but this inner part, like on the legs, on the knees, these two insets in between these three like prominent middle little teeth, these two guys on the real suits, there's nothing there. It's just cut out. But it makes me realize I should have done something a little differently. So let's look at the model. So instead of start this here, I should have collapsed it maybe on the actual fingers a little bit. And that would have given me a hollow access to these little finger bits, which would mean that after I printed it, I could take a little bit of casting resin, some high, impact urethane, just a little cupful, and pour it down into those knee fingers, and then trim everything else and just, fiberglass it, whatever. But these would be resin filled, so they'd be nice and sturdy. That's probably how I would deal with those. But anyway, that's a leg. Sorry if it took a little bit, but you get to watch me fumble around because this is how it is for me. Like if I don't know how to do a thing, sometimes I know how to do it, or I know a method that will work, and as I'm going, I see, things I can improve, or I'll have a little hang up or a snag, or something doesn't work as expected. It happens all the time. Just don't get discouraged. Just keep cranking, and you'll figure out a way to work through it. But let me see something here. When I did this, did it print support material that side? Let me look. I just realized the support blocker was a little crooked, so yeah, it did. What's the time on this? Did I miss this the first time? Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, wait a second, guys. Party's not over yet. Let's see. We're gonna mod this a little more. Oh my god. All right. We might get a 10-hour print. Let's see if we do it. Nope. 14 hours and 54 minutes. So under 15 hours now for this leg, just like this. So yeah. Let's do one with we'll just turn off support material. It really needs it for this one, but let's just, for this, just for the sake of trying, let's see what it does if I turn it off completely. How much the speed with no support material, 12 hours, 44 minutes. So support material added over 2 hours. So just that little bit of support material. To be honest, this little bit, you could get away with this without support. Once you're up here and it's casting it, let's do that. More experimentation. Now I know it gets it to be a little bit of a pain, but this is my life. I'm going to go here so it just prints support material to start that bottom support down here. Let's see what difference that makes. What the hell? Oh, sorry. I had support material off. I'm like, it did the exact same thing. All right, let's see. So with just a little itty bitty bit of support right there, 13 hours, 20 minutes. Boom. This is really all you need for this too. This part right here might get a little ugly under the bottom. Doesn't matter. For me, if I was fiberglassing it, I wouldn't even care. I would just, doesn't even matter. Not a thing at all. Same with these guys here. Probably a little funky. Not a big deal. 13 hours, 20 minutes for a thigh. So that would mean that you could print both thighs in 27 hours, which is just over a day to print the thighs. And then the shins should print faster. So they're a little smaller. I'm guessing these with the extra teeth and everything, a full set of legs would probably be just a little over 1 spool of filament. Probably like a spool and an eighth of another roll to finish these. That would be my guess. I would probably print 1 leg on 1 roll and 1 leg on another roll just to be safe, or 3 legs or 2 thighs and a shin on 1 roll and then the next shin on a new roll, just so that I wouldn't have to swap the filament. But anyway, that's how I would do that. It's quick and dirty, quick-ish and dirty. Again, if I went to do the next leg, I could probably do it in half the time because now I got a little practice. So next leg would go faster. What I might do is another video like this where I do the torso and show how I would combine the parts. Because if it were me, I would print the whole torso in 1 shot, or maybe 2. If it didn't quite fit, maybe I'd cut it and just do 2 big pieces or super hollow. But we could take a look at that in another video. I just wanted to do this before I went to bed and get this thing posted, and then probably go to bed soon because, like I said, I feel like I'm getting cold. So yay! But anyway, there it is. I might actually print this up and see how it goes, just to see. I love these legs, man. Jesse, you did a great job. If you watch this, great job on these files. I'm going to nitpick them a little more just because I'm that way, but they're awesome. Really, really good work, dude. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you have more questions. And yeah, unedited, this is what it is like. And then should be good. All right, more stuff soon. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I should probably switch to a different view here. And holy, oh, okay, man, I thought for a second that I didn't switch to the view where you could see my whole screen, and I was panicked. I was like, oh my God, did I just do this entire thing and not swap views? Oh man, that would be not real good. But cool. All right, guys, we're good. Have a good night or day or whatever. It's night here. I'm gonna go drink coffee. All right, bye.